Michael Cogbill. He is Ceasefire PA's community organizer, focusing on Philadelphia and the 5-county region. He has extensive organizing and campaign experience and is expanding our connections, Ceasefire's connections, to neighborhoods and partners that are experiencing gun violence on a daily basis. As with our first panel, we'll hold questions until all of our panelists have spoken, and we will again use index cards to gather your questions. If you asked a question in the first panel that didn't get asked, they'll continue to get gathered in our questions. And Isabella is going to be gathering those questions and ordering them for us. Okay, thank you. And Dr. Flynn, are you speaking first or Layla?
I will bring the ladies up with me. Come on.
Perfect.
So these are members of the Youth Council, and their time is limited here, so they want to share with you what this is like for children and young students.
Hello, I'm Layla. I'm a freshman in college this year. I just wanted to say that it's really important that we're showing, giving awareness about gun violence, because there's like so many kids out there who would love to be able to be in a free country where they don't have to have fear of doing things and enjoying themselves. Like there's times where myself, I'm scared to go out past like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, because you never know. You could just be walking with your friends, hanging out. Even at the park, you can get shot. Like things like that is just like so scary. And even at school, you think that you're really safe, but you're really not. Even students are shooting each other. It's like we gotta just tell the students, say, hey, it's not like guns are not all fun and game. Yeah, you can have it if like you're a police officer, because like you have license for it, you know how to use it, and you know that there's certain times when you should use it, and there's certain times when you shouldn't. Like there's times where kids play around with guns as like a meme on Instagram just to like get famous and stuff, but getting famous just because of guns isn't the right way. Like get famous off of promoting your something which you're very interested about, like do like a job that you want to do in the future, like acting, singing, stuff like that, instead of picking up guns, playing with it and stuff like that. That's just really what I feel like it's important to me, that we need to just tell not only older people but like our generations that we don't need to be dying yet. We should be burying our parents, not parents burying us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Dahlia Mason. I'm a senior in high school. So basically what I want to say kind of leads off of what Layla said. I think it's very important for my generation, my peers, to recognize the danger in guns and why we should change the mindset that we all have about them. I know a lot of kids think that guns are cool, that they can have one illegally. They like to post pictures of it, kind of like what she was saying, but they don't understand how much power is held in a gun and how so much can go wrong in so little time. With that little thing you think is so cool. And so mainly, I just want to say, I think we should be teaching kids that guns are not cool. The mindset, the whole idea about guns needs to be changed. It shouldn't be normal for a 16-year-old kid to have a gun when they're not certified, they're not licensed, they haven't been trained to use it. So many things can go wrong, and that is what leads to so many wrong things. If that kid has anger issues, you never know what could happen with that. So if you're giving someone who doesn't need it, if you're giving them the power of a gun at such like a vulnerable time, it can go wrong in so many ways, which is why we need to protect our kids and make sure if you do have a gun, if you're licensed to have a gun, it needs to be locked away, stored away, and make sure that these young generations shouldn't have access to these dangerous weapons that hold so much power to hurt so many people.
Hi, My name is Jaleese. I am a junior in high school, and I would just like to say that I think it is very important for young kids my age, to come together to really talk about their experiences with gun violence. Because me myself, whenever I think about it or start to talk about it, I become very shy. And I don't want anyone my age, anyone younger than me, to go through a very traumatic experience and not be able to come to me and talk about it. I really think that we should have a community and we should have an environment where kids can not only talk to their parents, but they should also feel comfortable to talk to the ones around them, their friends. Because as Layla and has said before, that a lot of young kids think that guns are cool and fun, and that is understandable because a lot of jobs do have guns, and a lot of kids do want to be a part of those jobs, and that is understandable for kids to think that it is fun, especially when you have toys about them, we have different aspects about them that kind of draws them to them. But it is also important for them to know that guns are not a toy. It is not something to be played with lightly. It is something for them to know, yes, it is okay to have, sorry, I'm getting off topic. My point is that I would like to see more kids coming out and to actually talk about their experiences, because I do feel like me, myself, and other kids around do feel really shy and feel kind of closed in, that they can't talk about their experiences that much. And it's not just adults, it is kids and it's our community, and I would really like to see more kids talk about their experience.
So I am inviting the Media Youth Council to convene a summit at the October convention to do just what you said. All right? Thank you. I won't take long. I moved because they're frightened. They're frightened. And they're marching across the country to ask us to protect them. When we were at the National Convention in July, a group of kids from across America came to the president's meeting and said, please protect us. They can't do anything about it except be hunted down in the hallways of school or shot walking down. They have no power. They are asking us to protect them. So I spent my life in school. And we have not only a trauma-informed education coalition, but the NAACP is calling for a trauma-informed education system throughout Pennsylvania. Why? Because we know that 60% of the children are traumatized. We know that it impedes their learning. Trauma is a medical condition. It impedes their learning. It interferes with their processing. It interferes with their development, to have all of those chemicals rushing through their bodies, flowing across their brains. It is a medical condition. And we have spent billions of dollars on bullying programs. Billions. None of them work, because you've got to treat the bully. You have to heal those children. They have to be healed. And so instead of being sent off into punitive pipelines to prison, they need to be put into a healing channel where they go to the counselor. Counselors have skills they can't even use because they're busy putting grades in and doing schedules. They know how to hold grief groups. They know how to hold anger management groups. They know how to hold friendship groups. Those things need to be going on in school. If we can catch a little kid who's traumatized, and I think Scott Charles made it clear, we little people are traumatized. Yeah, live in a crazy house. And there are plenty of crazy houses in this country. They're traumatized. So if we can catch them while they're small and get them into healing mechanisms, then they won't grow up and shoot people. Now, we know, and the ripple effect, and I won't be long, but the ripple effect. Every child and adult who's ever heard a gunshot experiences a trauma. Think about walking to school and passing dead bodies. We are in a serious condition. This is a moral challenge. Our children are dying. Our children are dying. And everybody who's been bought and sold, who becomes a lawmaker, is willing to let it happen. I speak across Pennsylvania. We're nonpartisan. I say, don't vote for any lawmaker who is willing to hurt your children or let them be hurt. Why would we do that? Why would we do that? So, you just think, Johnny went to school this morning and he passes a dead body. What if he knows that person? Or what if he knows that person's brother, sister, cousin? The whole community, the ripple effect, the entire school is in a state of panic, frustration, and fear. This is a violent country. We worship violence. You know, one of the biggest hits on TV was, what was that show about the gangster? Oh, that's the current one.
Which one?
Johnny, but the one before the lead actor died? Sopranos. We worship that stuff. We make movies about it, as the children were saying. And so the kids think this stuff is cool. So I'm going to end on this. We are calling for Health Secretary Levine to declare gun violence a crisis, a public health crisis in Pennsylvania. Because once that declaration is formally made by the Secretary of Health, then you get the same kind of programs and funding. Remember how they got us to stop smoking? Who remembers the campaign? That was a public health crisis campaign. That's how they're done. And so they'll be in the schools teaching kids not to do this, not to pursue this, not to glamorize this. They'll take on the CDC's protocols for a public health crisis, and they will educate, and they will come into schools. By they, I mean programs, and we can intervene with the children. This batch of old folk who bought and sold their soul to people who pay them to write laws that say the AFT cannot collect data, they're gone. I mean, if someone can do that, then they're not going to change. So what we must do is change the people who make the laws.